What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Titans Time Podcast, your Tennessee Titans podcast for the Pigskin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Tyler Staggs. We've got a very special show planned for y'all tonight. As you can see, we have a special guest on the Power Hour, finally making an appearance on the show here live. And man, it's great to have you on here.
Tyler, it's always great to be on the show. Thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, yes, for sure. And everyone, to start out, as you know, you got to support the show. One thing you can do to do that is go check out the merch. All you have to do is go to titans-time.myshopify.com/collections/all. Yes, I know, everyone. That's a long link. Don't worry. I will go back after the show, add it to the YouTube description. All you'll have to do is copy and paste or click the link. You'll be good to go. Also, Power Hour's link to his YouTube, Twitter, everything else, I will go link that in the description as well after we're done. Another way you can support the show is if you're listening to the audio version, which will be up a little bit later, make sure whether it's on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, you're following the show, rate it 5 stars, and leave us some comments and questions. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're in the live chat right now, click out that subscribe button. If it's red, click it. Turn it gray. Turn on the post notifications so you never miss when we upload a video, when we go live like we are now. Turn and leave a like on the video. That really helps us a lot. We appreciate it. Share the video, family, friends, any football fans, and leave us a comment. Let us know. We're going to get into Super Bowl predictions here. Let us know who you think is going to take home the Lombardi Trophy. We're going to talk about the Power Hour's top 10 moments from this Titans season. I'm sure he's got some good ones planned or wrote down for us that we're going to go over. And yeah, just looking forward to a great show here. You can also go check out our social medias. I'm going to have them popping up here on the screen. Our Twitter, Titans_time, Instagram, Titans Time Podcast, and Facebook, Titans Time. And while you're at it, go check out the Power Hour. His Twitter is at the Power Hour 615. TikTok, same thing. He's always putting up videos on TikTok. We have a TikTok as well, but I got to get better about uploading to it. Power Hour, you're pretty consistent with that. And as I said, I will have the links to all of these in the description because I know there's been times where people have had trouble finding you on YouTube. So we got to make sure we get them over there, and y'all go subscribe to the Power Hour.
Definitely get you over there and get more people on the channel, but it's pretty easy, guys. Just Power Hour, Tennessee Titans.
Pull it right up. So Power Hour, let's jump right into it. Big game this weekend. Rams, Bengals. I mean, second time ever that the stadium where the Super Bowl is being held, the team that plays in that stadium has made it. And just, we don't have to get into it too deep just yet, but do you think that the home team for that stadium wins it again?
I think you have to take some of that into advantage, but when it comes to the Super Bowl, I mean, this is really one of the more high-priced games where you're going to see a different variety of fans. You'll see a half, really a quarter and a quarter of Bengals and Rams fans, but at the same time, you're going to have a whole slew of people that wanted to go see this game, just for the matchup, just for the experience, just for the halftime show even. So really, it's more of a neutral site game more than anything, even regardless, with it being the Rams' home spot.
For sure. And I'm just going to tell you, I looked at ticket prices, and if you can afford to go to that game, more power to you, because even the upper, the higher level seats, I was like, that's quite a bit. That's pricey.
As for the cheapest ticket, I think right now on StubHub runs about at $8,000 in the nosebleeds. And the highest ticket that they have right now that's available on any ticket site, and I think it's StubHub as well, it ran about $40,000.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Even if the Titans would have made it to the Super Bowl, I could not see giving up that much money. I would be cheering them on from my couch, and maybe they could, if they would have made it, they would have heard me cheering in LA from my couch here in Tennessee if they won it.
I would have found a way. I would have been on the field as a backup dancer for the halftime show if that's what it came to.
Well, hey,
if that's what it came to, I'll do it.
You're gonna have to start putting up dancing videos on TikTok then, and maybe they can get you there when they make it.
I'll have to get a little skinnier before I start dancing.
So we have the Rams, who they went all in this year. They went and got Matthew Stafford. After all those years in Detroit, he's getting a shot now. He's with a team who is willing to put talent around him. They went and got Odell, Von Miller. Of course, they have Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, this team is stacked when you really look at them across the board, both offense and defense. Can't forget, Titans did put a whooping on them out in LA earlier in the season. But then you look at the Bengals, who it seems like they have that playoff run going. They're a hot team right now. And no matter how many points they're down by, you can't count them out in these playoffs. Like looking back against the Chiefs when they're down 21-0 before halftime, I'm like, this game's over. And then all of a sudden turn around and they're making a run back at it. And, may see them do that again this game and come out, give their kicker a chance for that game-winning field goal. And he's got some confidence. I mean, I forget, he hasn't missed in the postseason, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's been money for him since they drafted him.
And, I mean, going back to the Tennessee game, when he got ready to kick that game-winning field goal, Joe Burrow said it. He was warming up, doing his practice kicks, and, well, boys, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game. So if he gets a chance to win it in the Super Bowl, I have a feeling he's going to walk out there with that confidence of, well, boys, we're fixing to be Super Bowl champions.
And like you said, he does have confidence. And Evan McPherson, Cincinnati's kicker, is one of the guys that I was looking at in last year's draft. And I felt Tennessee should have took a shot at him because he came out of Florida. He had a really great leg, and I got to see a little bit of his film. And the dude didn't miss. He was kicking about 50-yarders and even a couple 60-yarders and knocking them through. So I like what I saw, but, with kickers, you don't have a lot of film. You only have just what's available out there to you, and in some situations, just a few game winners. But, confidence-wise, I really felt it was a situation where it was a guy that could fill the bill for any team that was looking for a kicker, and they basically had a situation where Cincinnati was going to get this guy no matter what, and he's made a huge difference, especially going forward.
He has. I mean, as Titans fans, we've seen what having a bad kicker or a kicker that's not consistent, how that can hurt you. And, you don't see it all the time, teams going and picking a kicker in the draft. But if there's a guy out there, you got to do what the Bengals done. Go get him. And that can be the biggest difference for you.
And it's definitely been a huge difference for the Bengals. When you have an opportunity to add any kind of playmaker on your roster, you go after them. And jumping on the Rams side real quick, as you mentioned, they went after a bunch of key guys, especially as the season is going on. And that's just Stan Kroenke just doing what he's done since he's owned the team, and it was still in St. Louis. He's going to go after the big guys, make the big deal like he did moving the team to L.A. in the first place.
Right. And, obviously kind of jumping away from the Super Bowl, but not really. You look at what the Rams done by going and getting that guy, and it kind of fuels a lot of Titans fans that are on the side of, okay, Tannehill's got to go. Let's make a move. Like, look at what the Rams done. They went, got Matthew Stafford. Now look where they're at. They're they're playing in the Super Bowl. But at the same time, that you're taking a risk there, because if you go get a guy, you give up a lot for him, you don't make it, then you're setting yourself up bad for the years to come, and possibly looking at taking more of a rebuild time or something like that. And I do want to ask you, do you think this Bengals offense against this Rams defense, I mean, I know going back to the Titans and Bengals game, Titans had 9 sacks. The Rams have a really good pass rush as well. And we know Jeffrey Simmons had a big game against them. Do you think Aaron Donald has that type of game?
I have no doubt about that, especially when you have Von Miller as one of your edge rushers and you've got Jalen Ramsey, arguably the best cornerback in the backfield. The way I see this Super Bowl reminds me a lot of the Super Bowl 36. You had a stacked offense that the Rams played when they were in St. Louis, which was the greatest show on turf, playing against a young New England Patriots team, which would go on and win that game. So I'm really getting the vibes of that kind of situation right now. You've got an LA team that went all in to try and find their guy. Sean McVay felt that they'd be more successful with Matthew Stafford, and it worked. But I'm going to warn Titans fans right now, for every Matthew Stafford deal, there's a Carson Wentz deal right next to it. Just because it worked for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
That is true. And, it, like you mentioned, Aaron Donald, he's a force. You have Jalen Ramsey, best corner in the game back there. Von Miller, all these guys. And, of course, you have a certain Bengals offensive lineman who, after the Chiefs game, was wanting to do some talking like, oh, yeah, what do y'all have to say about the O-line now? Man, all I can say to you is you better go watch some film and make sure you eat your Wheaties, whatever you need to do to get ready for going up against Aaron Donald, because that man he's not the biggest defensive lineman as far as height and everything else, but the dude is just a powerhouse and fast too. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the Bengals get their O-line ready for slowing down this pass rush of the Rams, and also trying to get that run game going. And, of course, you have a couple of factors on that Bengals offense. Jamar Chase, just when it seems like teams are doing a good job of taking him out of the game, next thing you know, he's making a big play. If I'm remembering correctly, against the Chiefs, 2 plays in a row down near the goal line, Joe Burrow threw that fade route to him. First time, I can't remember exactly how it panned out. I know it was incomplete, but he went right back to it because he liked the matchup. He was going to give Jamar Chase a chance to go up and get it, and that's exactly what he done.
And with the Bengals offensive line, they better not only eat their Wheaties, they better eat their Pop-Tarts, their Eggos, their cream of wheat. They better have their Nestle Quick. They better get every kind of fiber and vitamin in that body, because they're going to run every kind of scheme at them and give Joe Burrow fits. And that's really how you get to them. The Tennessee Titans basically laid the blueprint out for NFL teams how to put Joe Burrow in just really bad situations. And people have to remember, Cincinnati hung in the game, and I'll give them credit for that. But the thing is, Cincinnati also wasn't making enough plays.
Right. And, then, I know I'm jumping around from one offense to one defense, this and that, but jumping back to the Rams, you have the current now offensive player of the year in Cooper Kupp. And he's another guy who teams know the Rams are going to try and get him the ball. And no matter how they try and slow him down, they may slow him down for a quarter, they may slow him down for a half, but it is so hard to actually slow him down for an entire game. And you really wouldn't think that by looking at him.
No, you wouldn't, but just the sheer athletic ability that he puts out on the field is amazing. I mean, he's almost like a more athletic Wesley Welker. That's really the only player I can like describe him to. But the thing is, also with Kupp, you also have Odell Beckham Jr., who's found new life, and he's helping this Rams offense. So, it's a tall order for this Bengals secondary that they're going to have to try and close out these two shutout wide receivers.
Yeah, and one thing I just thought about, and I should have really looked at this, and I'm hoping you may have it in your notes or have had it in your past notes, but I believe both offenses had their top tight end go down in the championship games. Tyler Higbee for the Rams, and I am blanking on the Bengals tight end at the moment.
I know who you're talking about, but I think he'll be playing this week.
He will be.
He will.
All right. What about Higbee? Do you know anything on
Higbee?
him?
It may be a game time decision right now. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of just injury report stuff, but I know Cincinnati's guy will be good to go.
All right. That's what I thought that was the case. I mean, it's final game of the year. It's one of those things where you have to. I kind of think back to T.O. back in the Super Bowl that the Eagles made it to, like the dude coming back from a broken leg and earlier than he should have, and still just putting on an incredible performance. And I know they come up short in that Super Bowl, but it coming down to this final game of the year, you really have to suck it up and be like, all right, guys, I'm going to go out there and give it everything I have because, this may be the only time we make it here. So
I'd also had Dwight Freeney in Super Bowl 44, where I believe he tore his ACL and they pumped him full of painkillers and he went out and played.
That's another good one then. Yeah. That takes some mental toughness there to, as well as of course the physical toughness, but that mental toughness of knowing, okay, my ACL is shot and I'm still going to go out here and do whatever I can to help my team win.
I'm not 100% sure if it was his ACL, but I know it was something major with his leg, and he was hurting by the second half.
Right. All right, let's touch on a couple of these comments right quick. We have my wife watching, says tighten up guys. Then we have Rossi popping in.
Rossi?
He said wanted to stop in and say tighten up. Rams 23, Bengals 16. Troy Reeder stops Boyd on the 1 yard line for a win. Bengals hopes and dreams. And says, yes, he's still salty.
And real quick, I want to say happy belated birthday to you, Rossi. I wanted to make sure you knew that.
Yes, happy late birthday to you, Rossi. And even after that loss to the Bengals, I don't know that I could wish that coming up 1 yard short on them, just because I know the pain that Titans fans feel with that. So, and I don't even know if that I could wish that on my worst enemy.
I'm a firm believer in karma, so
Yeah.
I am going to keep the airways clear on that subject.
And then he says that he cannot wait to see Donald smash up on Spain. And then we have Titan Pratt. I'm going to switch over to the iPad and watch. We appreciate all y'all watching. Make sure you go out of the live chat, hit that like button. So now we can, and Rossi says, thanks, guys. They just got done seeing a movie, but I just want to see Stafford winning one. And, that will lead us into our predictions here. Who do you think is going to win this game, and what makes you lean that way?
Well, I think this year, like in some of the last Super Bowls that we've seen, really in the last 3 years, it's going to start out slow. And then, right about once we get the second half going, I think everybody's going to be a little more settled in. And it's going to be a powder keg that just erupts. So I think you'll see both offenses just explode. I think at that point, you'll have a tied game at 31, and we'll go into the second overtime ever in Super Bowl history. The Bengals will win the coin toss, and they will win the game 37-31 in overtime.
All right, I like that. As far as everything breaking down, it would, things erupting in the second half, going into overtime. I mean, last game of the season, we need a good one to send us off until next year. And it's kind of interesting that you think it's really going to erupt like that, because I believe, for all everyone out there that likes to bet and try and win on some money, the over and under for this game is 48.5. So if you're right about things erupting in the second half, it's going to hit the over easy. And I think that in the last 7 Super Bowls, I believe it was, teams have been under the score, the over under on betting. So change of pace this year if things work out like you think.
I think with this, with like any team, it's always nerves. You're always anxious, and when the game gets started, you're trying to get your feel out process going. And both these teams are in the same position. You only have maybe a couple of guys on both squads that have been to a Super Bowl, so they know the experience of all that. So really it's a situation of everybody's just trying to calm down. All the pop and glitter is done. Then it's trying to get to work, and it's finding your rhythm. And that's what I think is going to be the situation here.
Yeah. And so for me, I have to agree with Rossi. I want to see Matthew Stafford get him one. I think, Joe Burrow, he has, hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully, because don't wish injury or anything like that on any player. He's got a lot of years in him, I think, and he's going to, I believe, probably have several chances to get a ring. Stafford spent all of his career in Detroit. He's got this chance now to go get him a ring, and I think that is going to fuel him and help bring this Rams team to the championship, and just get that win. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think there's going to be more score in this game too. I think it's going to be Rams 31, Bengals 24. So okay. I think that Stafford is going to, and I think Stafford wins Super Bowl MVP. I'll throw that out there. And since you have the Bengals winning, who do you think will take home that Super Bowl MVP? Do you think it will be Joe Burrow, or do you think Jamar Chase puts on a absolute stellar performance and somehow gets it?
Well, like you were saying previously, Matthew Stafford, it's a great rebound story, if not the comeback story of the year. But here's the thing with Joe Burrow. He don't care about that. And like in this entire playoffs, he's winning. And that's all the kid does is win. And he don't care about next year. This is it. This is now. Matthew Stafford, it's a great story and all, but I'm Joe Burrow. And I'm going to get out there and I'm going to slap you around because I'm Joe Burr. And that's what's going to happen. So, great story and all, bro. But Joe Burr in town, Joe Burr getting his. So Joe Burr getting the MVP. T. Higgins will have a big night because I don't think they're preparing for him like the way they are with Jamar Chase. So I see Higgins getting a lot more of the reps. Joe Burr, baby. I've overlooked him twice. I'm not overlooking him here.
Can't argue with that logic. And whatever you want to call him, Joe Burr, Joe Cool, Joe Shisty, or whatever it is. I mean,
Joe taking that ring. Joe taking that ring. That's what it is.
He's got so many nicknames, but the only thing he cares about being called is Super Bowl champion Joe Burrow. And they may very well get it. And so with our Super Bowl predictions being out there, it's now time to hop into a little segment here. And I do have a bet that I'm going to throw out there, but we're going to jump into our best bets segment presented by DraftKings. And as I mentioned, the big game, it's finally here. And in honor of the big game, DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. All you have to do is bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in New York, meaning you can bet from almost a third of the country. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, don't worry. You can play DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contest for Super Bowl 56. New customers can get a free shot at a $1 million top prize with their first deposit. It's simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code TPPN, and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code TPPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. Must be 21 years or older. Minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In New York, call 877-467-369 or text 467-369. So for this bet, for the Super Bowl, and obviously this is not betting advice for anyone. And if you're a new customer, like I said, use that promo code that you see there, right above us, TPPN. Put $5 down on the money line. If I was a new customer, I would be putting it on the Rams. Power Hour, I don't know if you're a betting man, if you're on DraftKings or not, but it sounds like you would be putting your money on the Bengals.
Well, definitely remember. I'll remember to use the promo code.
There we go. So
I'll use that promo code TPPN. So
one of us will be getting $280 in free bets. So I mean, you can't go wrong there, because then those $280, there's no telling what you can turn that into. But DraftKings, they have some specials out for the Super Bowl. And we know the Bengals like to get Jamar Chase involved however they can. And one bet that I did go put some money down on is they call it like their dark horse promo. And they boosted this, and I believe it's boosted until Sunday to plus 120 odds. Jamar Chase over 3.5 rushing yards. We know how the Bengals like to do those like wide receiver reverses. We've seen them try and run it a couple of times against the Titans. Jamar Chase is a playmaker. You get the ball in his hands, and he can make a guy miss pretty easy. So, I personally, like I said, went and put a little money down on that, and hoping it pays off for me there. But again, everyone, this is not betting advice. So, and
it's good advice. It's very good advice.
I'll take that. They had another one that I was looking for, and I couldn't find it, but it was for and I don't want to butcher his name, but McPherson, is that right? The kicker for the Bengals.
Yes.
They have a bet on there for him to if he makes a 50-plus yarder, and I'm wanting to say the odds were like maybe plus 200 or something like that. I seen that bet, and I've been trying to go back and find it because I'm like, I need to put money on that because I could very well see that happening. Like you mentioned, the dude he's been automatic in the postseason. He's got all the confidence in the world right now. I don't think that the stage is going to be too big for him. And
No.
against this Rams defense, there's a good chance he'll get a shot at a 50-plus yarder.
And that right there is a safe bet. I definitely expect him to get at least a 50 or over a 50-yard field goal, I'd say, in this game.
So that'll do it for the best bet segment. Now, Power Hour, I want to switch back to just talking about the Titans. And I can't believe I didn't mention this at the first of the show. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year. What all Titans fans thought should happen, would happen. Well, I guess we weren't sure it would happen because there was talk about so many other coaches. But, congrats to him. Well-deserved. I mean, going through 91 players on the active roster, led the Titans to the number 1 seed, AFC South champs, 12-5 record. I mean, like the list goes on, and it's well-deserved for him. So congrats to him. But now I want to get into your top 10 moments from this past season.
All right. Well, getting to the top 10 ones, I'm going to get into it and try not to spend too much time on some of them, but I'll try and move along as quickly as I can, just so I don't start rambling. All right, so my first one, we'll start at 10, and 10 would definitely be Julio Jones' first touchdown catch. I felt like just a breath of relief from all Titans fans after it finally happened. It's against Houston, and you kind of got the feeling it was going to happen, and it was just a matter of when. And you finally see him get the catch. A lot of relief, everybody just finally wanted to see him get that one touchdown under his belt, especially after the one that got robbed in the Seattle game. So going forward, fans definitely just felt a just moment of relief. Number 9 would be in the same game, and that would be the Tannehill scramble. And really, that just saved the game, especially when it looked like it was starting to unravel quickly. Tannehill rolls out, looks like he's going to be sacked. Psychs everybody out, finds Westbrook Keenum down the field, and throws a clutch pass down and gets them the first down.
Oh, right on the money, too. I mean, it didn't overthrow him anything. And, that moment right there was a true Houdini act because I have no idea how he was able to escape from that. Lawan had no idea how he was able to escape from that because Tannehill uses him to stay up, and Lawan looks like, oh, shit, I can still block right now. And then going back to your number 10, yes, Julio's touchdown. I was going to ask you, which one are we talking about? We talking about the one he got robbed of or the one that actually counted?
We're talking about the one that counted. The one that counted was the one where everybody's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, I agree. So now we can move on to your number 8.
All right, number 8 is basically the entire series with the Indianapolis Colts. And it was really hard just to pick out like individual moments because both those series were just grinding and just exhausting, especially the one at Indy. It just felt like a slugfest the whole way. There was that insane series of events that happened with A.J. Brown where it looked like the Tennessee Titans ended up having a ball picked off, which it was overturned, and then A.J. Brown catching it for a touchdown, I believe it was a play later. And that game did end up going into overtime, and it was won right again by the leg of our kicker Randy Bullock. Glad we have him on board, but just the entire series with Indianapolis, I had to put at number 8. So many moments to just pick from that game, but I figured
Mhm.
it's easier just to put it just at one spot.
I agree, especially like you said, that second game against them. I mean, there's so many plays that you can try and pick from that game alone, whether it be Byard's interception in overtime where he just read Wentz where he was going with it. You have Molden making a heads up play, getting his pick six. As you mentioned, AJ's play, Henry playing on a broken foot and picking up a key first down on from a fourth down. Like just so many plays.
It was really hard to just pick. It was hard to just even pick like a handful because just the entire series were exhausting. It was like just a heavyweight matchup. It was like watching, Muhammad Ali or Sonny Liston just go at it. It was just a consistent fist fight in both of them. So I just picked the whole game for number 8. It was pretty cut and dry right there. But moving on to number 7, and I would be the Derrick Henry run at Buffalo on Monday night where he broke, I think it was a 75-yard run, and it really just kind of just kicked things off in the Titans' favor. I really felt that we just got off to a slow start, and it went until the second quarter where Tennessee just started hitting their rhythm. And everybody just was counting the Titans out in this game. Everybody was favoring Buffalo. Buffalo's really the Super Bowl favorite at that point in the season. But I felt that run just escalated things for the Tennessee Titans' favor, and for the Buffalo Bills, it was starting the slow unraveling of what would be just very disappointment to their season going forward.
Yeah, that run, I was there in the crowd for it. One of the times when I'm kicking myself because I'm like, it's the first time I got to see Derrick Henry break a long touchdown run in person. And I'm kicking myself. Why did you not have your phone out recording? Like anytime this man is on the field, he can take it for a touchdown. And that like you said, it was a slow start that game, and that just really gave the crowd the energy boost that they needed. And I think it gave the Titans the boost that they needed to know, okay, we can run on this defense because at the time the Bills had the number 1 rush defense, I believe. So yeah, that's a great moment from this season. I would say that one's in my top 10 as well.
And getting to number 6, and it's a bittersweet one, but I have to add this one because, there's light at the end of this tunnel. Basically, it was the Cincinnati game, and it was the 9 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
But look, Tennessee lost the game. That's understandable. But I want fans to remember this. Tennessee stayed in this game until that bad pick at basically what was the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, Tennessee has shown they can match up with anybody. Throughout the entire season, they matched up with everybody. And really, even the 2 losses that got out of hand were just losses that got out of hand because they weren't ready for the season in the Arizona game. Let's just be honest with that one.
Mm-hmm.
In the New England game, they just didn't have the guys.
Right.
But it's not like Tennessee didn't try to fight and win these games. They were in a lot of the ones that they lost.
Exactly. And, as far as picking out bright spots from obviously a game that ends your season, when you have your defense show up and play like that, and knowing that your defense also kept you in a lot of games this year and even helped seal the wins for a lot of games, like that just, for me personally, that gives me that's a lot going forward into next season of I'm ready to see this defense back out there on the field, just whether it be dominating offensive lines. Obviously, hope that our secondary, even improves more this next season. Like I'm looking forward to the defense being back out there this next season.
And I am too. And that's one of the bright spots. We'll see how the Harold Landry situation goes. They return Caleb Farley, they return Rashad Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
This defense is going to continue to get better, especially with Jim Schwartz hanging around, which I think he will for another year. This team's got nowhere to go but up. And if their playmakers continue to play that they are, you don't need great quarterback to win a Super Bowl. The 2000 Ravens showed that.
That's true. It's very true.
It depleted Peyton Manning with an elite Denver defense in Super Bowl 50 showed that.
You bringing all the facts today, Power Hour.
You got to get ready for next season, guys. And I'm all about moving forward. I know people are going to grieve in their own time, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But like I've been saying, as soon as this game happened, just dust yourself off and let's get going. You can be mad. Use that mad, use that anger, throw it on the fire, and use it as energy.
That Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant mentality of, okay, this it was it wasn't the result we wanted, but we're going to come back next season better, and we're going to get to our goal.
And we'll be playing the Bengals next season. Mm-hmm. So there's not a player in that locker room that doesn't have that game circled on the calendar. And I promise you, that's going to be prime time.
Oh,
NBC or ESPN's grabbing that.
Yeah, because I believe that game is actually in Nashville as well. So, even there's players with that game. They're going to have that game circled. The fans are going to have that game circled to have the stadium rocking again. Like they better have that game on prime time.
Oh, it will be. I guarantee you, networks are like drooling over that game, and we'll just see who fist fights the hardest to get it.
That's right.
But getting back to the top 5, and we'll hit number 5, and this was A.J. Brown's touchdown against the 49ers that basically sealed the win for the Titans in a must-win game. And God, that game was horrible. Offensively, I just remember they just looked so stagnant. They looked just depleted. And then halftime hit. I just remember all the message boards. And guys, this is why I don't put messages, or this is why I don't text or tweet or do anything on game day. I don't want receipts on me, because you guys will pull them up and you'll throw them on the board. I don't play that game. I let it play out till the clock hits 0-0, and that's it. And that's why I do it, because of games like this. The Titans came out in the second half. They found the energy. Tannehill found some motivation, and A.J. Brown got involved. Mm-hmm. And that touchdown catch against the 49ers was a huge pivotal play.
It was. And yeah, that, if we're at home watching the games, because our TV's a little bit behind, obviously we have Hulu Live that we watch on, and it's behind other people's TVs. So I have to try and stay off of Twitter, and also following Titans reporters. They put stuff out there. So, there's been several times where I've made the mistake of hopping on Twitter and a play be spoiled for me, and I'm either trying to hide my excitement because I know what's coming up, or I'm trying to hide the fact that I am pissed off because something bad happened. But like you said, a lot of people put out there with their emotions something, and it just gives everybody receipts on them. So I try not to play that game either. I try, like, the only thing you may see me for the most part tweeting out on game day is if the Titans score a touchdown, I'm retweeting where they have put whose touchdown it was.
Just keep your emotions in check. That's all you can do at that point. I promise you, if you let it play out, things usually tend to work themselves out.
That's true. And that 49ers game, we weren't able to be at that game. We were actually up north visiting my wife's family. And I'm watching it on my phone. And like you said, especially that first half, I'm like, guys, come on. We have to get it together here. And then coming out, AJ getting involved, that touchdown, all that was just major in changing that game.
And I think we'll go ahead and hit number 4. And I think everybody will get a laugh out of this one. And it was sweeping the Jaguars. And it's basically not for the reason you think it is. Tennessee's never defeated Urban Meyer. And this is about the closest Tennessee's going to defeat Urban Meyer. So I will hold on to that for the rest of my life. So Mike Vrabel, the student, has become the teacher. I thank you, and you rightfully deserved that Coach of the Year award. And I will name that after you if you keep doing what you're doing, sir.
Oh, that yeah, that gives me the laugh that I didn't expect tonight. So I like that. I like that.
So Tennessee, you can rest assured you are undefeated against Urban Meyer. And that'll never ever go away.
Exactly. Oh.
But my number 3 moment, and I was at this game with my wife, and I'll definitely keep this one close to my heart, but it was the Derrick Henry touchdown pass in the end zone. Loved that play. It just really just kind of just set the tone for what the Titans were going to do against the Kansas City Chiefs. A dominating performance and just basically showing the NFL world, don't sleep on the Titans.
Exactly. I love that play too, because it's hard to defend for teams because you have Henry back there who can, and especially down there, he can run it in very easily, or now you have to watch out for him for the threat of the pass. And one thing my brother and I kind of joked about that we wanted to see towards the end of the season or even in the playoff game, do that formation, have Henry back there taking the snap, have Foreman next to him, and then bring also Jeffrey Simmons in right there beside him, because we've seen that practice footage of Jeffrey Simmons. We know he can catch some. Either have him as a lead blocker for somebody or let him slip out and catch a touchdown pass from the king.
I definitely like to see that more, especially with Tim Kelly helping out with the offense as a senior offensive assistant, which I believe we brought that up when we were on Rossi's show that they needed to do that. And I didn't think Tim Kelly was going to be one of the guys, but surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I knew that. I'd seen some people talk about it whenever the Texans got rid of him, and I didn't know if it would happen or not. And I'm happy with the move. I think that it gets Titans fans what they wanted. We now have that guy who can kind of help out on the offensive side, especially the pass game. And, say things with Downing, don't they start out slow again this next year or whatever. You have a guy who is basically an insurance policy.
It's a pretty good insurance policy to have, especially they use that situation with the defense and you got results for it.
Exactly.
But hit my number 2 moment, and really this one's another game, and it's the entire Seattle game. I think this was a must-win for Tennessee. Tennessee did not fare well in games on the West Coast, and this was especially a game where they had to come out and start swinging because people were already talking about how bad they performed against Arizona. There was a lot of doubts. Tennessee came out, and it was just a slugfest, a tit-for-tat matchup. Russell Wilson came out and played the best football that he could with what he had. But I'll tell you this. I just saw the fight and the determination in that team, and Vrabel was getting those guys hyped up on the sideline. And, of course, the highlight of the game, Derrick Henry back stiff-arming Sheldon Richardson from the backside for a long touchdown run, and then seeing him slam his helmet in disgust. It was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, because that a defender chasing Henry down, he's he's looking at the situation and he's like, okay, if I let him get in front of me and I dive at his legs, there's no way he can hit me with that stiff arm. I'll be safe. I can possibly make the play and stop him. And then all of a sudden, Derrick Henry, with the disrespect of showing him, I can reach back there and still stiff arm you. I'm going to put your face in the dirt, and you're going to be on my highlight reel, no matter what.
And it's going to be a long, long time if that one goes away anytime soon.
it will be, and kind of jumping around. I thought that we were going to see a Bengals player on that highlight reel because that final drive that the Titans offense did have, Henry got his one-on-one with one of the defensive backs. I don't remember which one it was, but he loaded up for that stiff arm because for some reason that defensive back was coming high at him. And if Henry hadn't have slipped, we probably see that Bengals player on a poster with that stiff arm, and Henry probably would have been gone.
Probably, but, it happens.
Yep. So now, because that was number 2, right?
Sorry.
Time to get to your top moment.
The number one moment, and this was just hands down the easiest one, it was the defensive line stand at the Buffalo game for everything. And when the defense stood their ground and put Josh Allen on the ground and ended that game, the world knew that the Tennessee Titans had turned a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they wanted to admit it or not, this was not your daddy's Tennessee Titans.
Exactly. And which obviously just kind of kicking this series off of getting different people on to talk about their top 10 moments. I wondered how many people would have that in their top 10 because I know we had 2021 Titans Fan of the Year Stephanie on last week, have you on this week. And obviously different moments here and there for both of you. There's some that are the same. But for me, that Bills game, that goal line stop on Josh Allen, because he's a big dude. And you have Jeffrey Simmons, who was able to push like 3 guys back, including Josh Allen, and just stop him. And like you said, that was the moment, especially for this defense, where it's like, you don't mess with this defensive line. Like the determination they have, their strength, how good they are, they're going to shut you down time and time again in that situation. Because when the Bills got down to that point, I thought, okay, they're going to kick the field goal and we're going to go into overtime. When they went for it, I was like, I trust our defensive line right here. Like, I think that they can stop them, and they get the stop. And like I said, I think that has to be on my top 10 as well.
And I mean, it's the one you have to put on there because to me, it's just a season-defining play. When your defense stands up, and as bad as they were last year, to me, that just showed Mike Vrabel made all the right moves to make this defense successful. John Robinson made all the right moves as the GM to make this defense successful. So their contract extension is very warranted, and I have no doubt they're going to continue what they've been doing until they get to the ultimate goal. And that's bringing the Lombardi Trophy home.
I agree. And, I'm ready for them to bring that trophy back so we can all have that big party in Nashville celebrating the team. John Robinson, Vrabel, bringing that trophy to Nashville. And I think they're the guys that can get it done. Their contract extensions, well deserved. I'm kind of interested to know how long those extensions are actually for.
I've heard probably, I think on Rossi's show today, he had a 615 podcast on there. And I think one listener said it was about a 5-year extension, which that makes sense. It's probably going to be around the realm of about 4 or 5 years. And yes, everybody, I'm talking to you. take all that damn anger energy that you have and quit being mad at Tannehill and put it into next season. You mad? I'm mad too. Let's go get that damn Super Bowl. Put your energy in that.
I agree. I want everyone to bring all of that energy to the stadium. Let's have Nissan Stadium absolutely rocking, because I know, like you said, you were at the Chiefs game. We were at every home game except for the 49ers. But by far, that playoff game against the Bengals, that was the best that I saw that stadium this past year. I mean, that stadium was absolutely rocking. We couldn't hear when the whistle was being blown early in the game. It was crazy, and I want that energy in the stadium all year long.
And I'm going to comment on one of your commenters real quick. That's from Ducky. He says, we want to go to Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill. I will support him and cheer him on, but I have my doubts. Ducky, it's all right to have doubts. What you can't be is afraid. Don't go in afraid, or you've already lost. 2022 next season, Tennessee Titan fans have to focus on what we want and get there. That's it. Yep. You can be a little afraid, but don't be afraid of the moment.
And I know I've seen people on Twitter, and my wife saying here, we got to put the heat under Tanny. And I know some people on Twitter are upset that Tannehill hasn't come out and said anything, talked about the game. But to me, now that I think about it, because we mentioned these names earlier, and I know it's a different sport, but Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, those guys, when things didn't go their way, they went and worked. They weren't out here talking this or that. And I mean, I know going into the playoffs and everything, getting the number 1 seed, you kept saying it. The line from Kobe Bryant, job's not finished. And that could very well be the mentality that Tannehill is taking into this offseason. Like, he knows he made a mistake. He knows that he could have played better that game. It wasn't his best game. He can take that into this offseason and put in the work. And, I told you earlier, regular season, I completely trust him. Postseason, I want him to show me something. Like, prove me wrong. I would be one of the people who, if he proves me wrong in the postseason and leads this team to a Super Bowl, I will give him all the credit that he deserves. Like, I'm not going to hold it against him if he's had some bad games and he goes and proves me wrong. No matter what, he's on this team. Support him. He's going to come back. He's going to put in the work. And that's what he's doing right now. He's not going and saying, okay, guys, let's keep, it's weeks later. Let's keep reflecting on this. Y'all come at me. Tell me what I did wrong. Like, no, he knows. He's probably even seeing all the Twitter mentions, and he's just in the lab working.
And I'll take it a step further. I'll look at John Robinson, and I'm going to tell him, I need you to build around him. I need you to put the weapons around Tannehill that are necessary to make him successful. If we need a better offensive line, then let's retool it. Let's get better. If we need quicker receivers, if we need more athletic receivers, let's go out and get them. If we need to find a running back that can catch in the backfield and turn it into a 60-yard play, let's find him and get him. If we need to find a kickoff return guy or a punt return guy to get us better field position, let's go get him, damn it. Whatever it takes. You want this Super Bowl? Let's do it the right way. We know how to get there. Right. Let's finish the job.
Couldn't have said it any better. And everyone, if you're just now joining, I've got all of his information up there on the screen. Make sure to go check out Power Hour on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Like I said, I've got his Twitter pulled up there. I'll repeat it for anyone who's listening to the audio version of the podcast later on. His Twitter is at the Power Hour 615. You can find him on YouTube, the Power Hour. TikTok is at the Power Hour 615. Again, all those, whether you're listening to the audio version or watching on YouTube later on, I'll have the links in the description so you can find him easy go give him a follow. Go subscribe to him on YouTube. He's always putting out great content. I'll be honest, man, since meeting you, becoming friends with you, as far as all around football knowledge and knowledge around the league, you put in the work. I mean, you're able to give answers on pretty much anything, and even if you don't know it right then, you'll go digging and you'll find the answer. You'll do research, and just you put out great content, man, and more people need to go check you out.
I appreciate that, Tyler. Thank you for having me on, and my best regards to your wife and your newborn. I hope they're doing well as you are.
They are, and we are. She's just growing like a weed. I'm needing time to slow down some.
It's just gonna pick up. That's all it does. Enjoy it.
That's what I'm afraid of a little bit. But yeah, I'm soaking up every moment. And Power Hour, I think that's all I got. I appreciate you coming on. Definitely going to have you on more this off season. I mean, so much to talk about. The draft's coming up. I know you're putting in work. You've probably been watching film on every draft prospect there is.
Here and there.
Yeah.
Here and there.
So we will definitely have you on the show again. And everyone, this has been Titans Time. And as always, tighten up.